Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This is Tariq Amin, lecturer, Department of English, Kohat University of Science and Technology, Kohat. A very warm welcome to the course of Communication Skills. This is video number 2 of the lecture number 22, and our today's topic is strategies for improving listening skills. Let's have a look at the lecture outlines of today's class. In today's class, we are going to read about strategies for improving speaking, listening skills. The very first strategy that can be used to improve listening skills is increase your listening span. The second one is take time to listen. The third one is listen between the lines. The fourth one is give your full attention. The fifth one is restate the message. And the sixth one is listen actively, and the last one is listen for ideas as well as facts, and don't monopolize. Let's discuss the first one. Increase your listening span. Try to resist the temptation to interrupt. Don't try to interrupt the speakers, just listen, increase your listening span. Listen to the other speaker, listen to the speakers who are delivering something in front of you, and don't ever try to interrupt them in between. Try to resist your temptation to interrupt. Resist this temptation to interrupt. Don't interrupt the speakers. Make sure the speaker has had a complete chance to make his or her point before you speak. Let the speakers complete their point. Let the speakers complete their statements, and make sure that the speakers are done with their presentation. And after that, you can start speaking. But don't speak before the speaker has finished. If you don't get the whole message, ask the speaker to repeat what they said. If you don't understand a particular point in the presentation of a particular speaker, just ask them to repeat what they said. Request them to repeat that point. The other one is take time to listen. Take your time to listen. This is the important point. Don't put obvious limitation on your listening time. Take your time to listen. Don't impose some limitations on your listening time. The speaker will feel rushed. Listen between the lines. Don't just listen to the lines of the speakers, but listen between the lines. Focus what is there in between the line, what is there behind the lines. Like, don't just listen to what is being said. Don't become a passive listener, become an active listener. Critically think over the different words and sentences that a speaker is saying in front of you. Try to understand the attitudes of the speakers, the needs of the speakers, and motives behind the different selected words. There are always some motives behind the selection of a particular word, words in a particular presentation. So try to understand the different motives and the different ideologies behind the different selected words by the speakers. Give your full attention. When you listen to different speakers, give your full attention. Listen the speakers attentively. Nodding, or interjecting occasionally to clarify a point lets the speaker know you are interested. You can show through your facial expression, through your body language, that you are interested in whatever the speaker is saying. You can show this by nodding head, or through interjections, and this will let the speaker know that you are interested in whatever he or she is delivering in front of you. If the speaker pauses briefly, don't rush to fill the silence. If you are listening to a speaker and he or she pauses briefly, just don't start speaking in between. Let them complete their statement. Don't rush to fill the silence. Use open-ended questions to encourage elaboration. You can ask open-ended questions in order to encourage elaboration. The speakers will elaborate the point in front of you, but ask open-ended questions. Restate the message. You can restate the message also. When you are sure that the speaker has finished, restate the main points. You can restate the main points of the presentation after the speaker has finished with his or her presentation. You can restate the main points of the presentation. This is a good organizing strategy for you. This could be an interesting organizing strategy for you. You can restate the messages after listening to the speakers, and this will help you organize the presentation of the speaker. It also gives the speaker assurance that the message has been received. When you restate the central point, the main points of the speaker, it gives the speaker assurance that the message has been received by the listeners. Listen for ideas as well as facts. You should listen to facts as well as ideas. Focus on both the things, facts and ideas. Facts are something that are proved, and ideas differs from person to person. Ideas differ from person to person. One person may have one idea about a particular object, about a particular point, and another person might have a different idea about that very point. So ideas differs from one person to another person, and facts are the same for every person. A good listener makes an effort to understand what the facts add up to. Good listener always try to understand what the facts add up to. And this is another point, don't monopolize. Like, always resist the urge to dominate a situation. Don't try to dominate a situation, and don't try to feel that you know everything about a situation. When you start thinking that you know everything about an object, you know everything about a particular idea, you know everything about a situation, this is not a good idea. You, as a good listener, you should resist this urge. You should resist this urge to dominate a situation. You don't try to dominate the situation, and don't ever try to feel that you know everything. Don't try to feel that you know everything. When you start thinking that you know everything about a point, you know everything about a subject, and you know everything about a situation, you don't listen to anyone. And when you don't listen to anyone, you don't learn anything. So you should listen to everyone. And don't think that you know everything, because no one knows everything. There is a statement that everyone knows something, but no one knows everything. Be open to new ideas. Be open to new ideas. Open your mind to new ideas. Don't close your mind to new ideas. Always open your mind to new ideas, and allow the speaker to have his or her say, and let the speakers to say what the speakers are trying to say, what he or she is trying to say. Listen actively. When you listen to speakers, you should listen to them actively, not passively. Focus on active listening. There is a difference between active listening and passive listening, and we will discuss this in the next classes. Focus on active listening instead of passive listening. There is difference between active listening and passive listening. And maintain eye contact with the speakers. When you maintain eye contact with the speakers think that you are interested in their talk. And when you don't maintain eye contact, the speakers start thinking that you are bored. And by looking look at the other person in the eye, you are proving that you are interested in what they are saying. And when you uh, look at the other person look at the speakers in the eye, they start thinking that the speakers start thinking that you are interested in whatever they are delivering in front of you, whatever they are presenting in front of you. They also start taking interest. Don't finish other people's sentences. Don't try to finish other people's sentences. This is what I've repeated several times, that whenever you listen to a particular person, let them complete their statements, let them complete their sentences, let them complete their talk, let them complete their turn. And after they are done with their turn, after they have completed their statements, you can start speaking. You can take your turn, but don't finish other people's sentences. Don't interrupt them in between. Don't interrupt them before they have completed their statement, before they have completed their presentations. Research has shown that by doing this, when you do this, research has shown that when you do this, when you interrupt other person, when you finish other people's sentences, you are disempowering the other person, because you are taking control of the conversation. When you start interrupting the speakers in between their presentation, in between their sentences, it means that you are disempowering the speaker, you are disempowering the people, the different speakers, because you are taking control of the conversation. It shows that you have got more power over them. So in today's class, we discussed different strategies for improving listening skills. In the previous video, one of this lecture number 22, we discussed what is listening. We discussed different types of listening, such as active listening, passive listening, selective listening, pretending listening, and some other types of listening. And we also discuss some of the purposes of listening, such as to enjoy, to be inspired, etc. And in this video number 2 of this lecture number 22, we discussed that we can improve our listening skill. We can improve our listening skills with the help of different strategies. We can adopt different strategies in order to enhance our this listening skill, because this is also one of the important listening skill, one of the important language skills. Among the 4 basic language skills, this is one of the important listening, one of the important language skills. The 4 language skills are the first one is speaking. After that we have writing, then we have listening, and then we have writing. Listening is an important important language skill, and we did discuss that we can improve our listening skill with the help of different strategies. And we discussed that we can improve our listening skill with the when we listen to different persons actively. When you listen to different persons actively, it helps you improve your listening skill. And a part of listening, a part of this strategy, we can use other strategies as well, such as we can listen to different movies, we can listen to different other things. We discussed that take your time to listen. When you listen to different speakers, take your time to listen. Don't interrupt the speakers in between their presentations. And when you start interrupting different speakers in between their presentations, it means that you are disempowering them, and you are taking control over the presentation. And after you start listening to the different speakers, you can restate the central points of the message as well, and this will This will ensure to the speaker that he or she has delivered the message, and the speakers have received, and the listeners or the audience have received his or her message. And thank you very much for listening to the video. This was all about today's class. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.